Hello, McQuaige-Alford family human beings. Gail King here from CBS This Morning. I hope it's your favorite morning show. It should be because I get to work with Jerika.
Hey.
That's what I get to do. Hey, Jerika. This is the thing I was thinking about, you guys. I know that because of COVID, we were all in lockdown, so you couldn't have the reunion the way you normally do. But I also heard from reliable sources, Jerika's hosting, so you were in for a huge celebration. And when you think about it, what's more important than family? All kidding aside. I also look at us as black people. When you look at our history, it's amazing that we're still standing. So not only are you all standing, but you were celebrating. This is the other thing I heard about you, Grandma Doris. I would do the same thing. I would pick out all my outfits. And I've heard that you've laid your outfits out one by one. Somebody please tell me what Grandma Doris is wearing tonight, because I know she looks good. The other thing I know before this weekend is over, because everybody loves this, I know there will be electric slide at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I have trampled little children to get to the floor for the electric slide. I just want to say this. Have a great time. I'm so glad that you get to do it again this year after missing for the past couple of years. And I really do wish I was there. Bye.
Hello, my name is Doris McQuaige Duncan.
My name is Donn Howard.
My name is Stephanie Alexander. My mother is Fran McQuaige.
And I am Carolyn McQuaige-Howard's oldest son.
And my great-great-grandparents are Malcolm McQuaige and Fanny MacArthur.
I am 80 years old. I am one of the great granddaughters of the late Malcolm McQuaige and Fanny MacArthur McQuaige. Strength, power, love, fellowship, coming together. And that's what McQuaige mean to me. And beauty.
I think that name embodies strength.
The McQuages are very strong. I see that through my aunts and my uncles. They were all about, handling their business.
I'm always amazed that my grandfather, he had, a sixth grade education and worked at Domino Sugar. But then to produce my mother, who is an Ivy Leaguer, is, I think just speaks to volumes.
One of the strongest qualities was we don't quit. No matter how long it takes us to achieve something, we keep working till we get there. If we fall, it's not the end of the world. We need to pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and keep going.
I'm very proud of myself. I'm proud of the accomplishments that I've made. I dropped out of high school, had your dad at 17, went back to school, was the spokesperson for my academic curriculum, went back to school, graduated with honors, went to college, graduated with honors, earned my degree, got off of welfare, earned my master's equivalents, and I'm just a blessed person. And when I look at my children, I say the same thing my parents said to us. I thank God for my beautiful children, my highly intelligent children, my good children.
Just to make a long story short, I met a woman in the 1990s, and I went to her house, and I was talking to her father. She became a good friend of mine. And the father just so happened to mention that he was from Roland. And he says, "Oh, McQuages, I knew them." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah." And he talked about my Aunt Alberta's husband. He talked about my Aunt Irene. And when he finished the conversation, it made me feel good, because he says, "Oh, your family were very important people. They had very good jobs, and they did very well for themselves."
I'm so glad that Troy, son will carry on, that name. Something my mother gets on me about. It's like, you gotta, have a child so the name can live. I'm like, I might adopt and just smack Howard on the back of the name. Is that cheating?
My fondest memory of reunions is when I was a child. And so the night before we would go to the reunion, as a child, I couldn't sleep. And even as an 80-year-old coming down here, I couldn't sleep because you get so excited when you come together with your family. It's very important to be with your family.
My fondest memories are my mother being so anxious and happy to drive to see her sisters and her brothers and her cousins. And we lived in Brooklyn, and the Parkway was right there. So there was a lot of energy and happiness just getting on the road to go to Baltimore, North Carolina. And the idea was that we get to see family, we get to be in their presence, and we get to learn.
Every year we would travel to North Carolina to fellowship with our grandfather and grandmother. He married again to Miss Nettie McQuaige. Because my grandmother, Aurelia McQuaige, passed at a very early age after having 16 children. It's my understanding she passed when she was in her 40s. And so coming together and meeting your cousins, and today I have a cousin downstairs, I call her my buddy cousin, Gracie Bell. And we would meet with our cousins and have such a good time. And back then we would even meet in Richmond. And we would have food galore. And they would put food in a tin tub. If you don't know what a tin tub is what we would take baths in years ago in the South. And so we would just play games, the sack game, running around, meeting a cousin. And then every now and then you find somebody will come from the church.
I can still, in my mind, go back down the line and remember, family reunions from the 80s. I think some of my best family reunions were seeing, like, Archie at the family reunion, because he was, like, really the first cousin I ever met that was, like, my age. But it's so much. It's family. It's getting to travel. It's seeing how the family grows. It's face-to-face conversations. It's picture taking. And just being able to do the things that families do, just eat, everyday things, eat, worship, take pictures, go over stories, just catch up, find out how everybody's doing.
In order to move forward, you have to know where you come from. And it's so important to know that history and, to keep learning it and passing it on to your children, I mean, you just can't move forward unless you know where you come from.
And it was just a joyful thing. No one was fussing or fighting. You were just glad to be at the reunion. And my grandfather was a very thin man. And he would say very proudly, "Oh, yeah, I'm Jess McQuaige. I'm the man that made them 16 babies."
I missed, I think, the last 2 or 3 family reunions. And so when the pandemic came around and you're home and you can't go out and you can't see anything, you just feel empty. It's nice to come to family, come back to family, and you get together and, you just can't stay to yourself. You have to reach out to others because you never know when you won't see family again. It could be the last time, So getting together is very essential and it's very important. And, expressing your love and communicating with your family members, it just makes you feel really good.
You gotta, I guess, keep traditions alive and going because it's your blood. And your blood, it's not just where you come from, but this is where you get resources from. This is where, regardless of what you're going through, I found out, as, my development, these are people that 99.9% of the time will have your back.
The idea that you're together. I'm just so proud I have great-grandchildren at this reunion. I'm thankful that I have never been to a courtroom because of a child or a grandchild. I'm blessed. And so when you come together, the children know who their family are. Oh, this is my cousin. And they begin to fellowship and unite with one another. It's so important.
And you get to appreciate, things about yourself. that you see in your family. Oh, wow, cousin so-and-so does this, and auntie does this, and maybe that's why I like this, and maybe I can learn from them.
But you got to stick with the family to see what's going on, because when you don't, that's when you have to update them on everything. What? You're out of high school? Yeah, it's been about 30 years. I'm out now.
I love my family because they're caring. They give me strength to carry on, and they're a part of me. And I don't know what I would do if I didn't have family to call and talk to. Talk to Cousin Doris from time to time. I can build on their strength and how they carry themselves. It makes me very proud.
Let me tell you my story about my great-grandparents. A long time ago in North Carolina, there lived a white slave owner of Irish descent named John McQuaige. John McQuaige had a slave named Florence. Florence, who we assume took her owner's John McQuaige name. Florence had 2 children, Malcolm and John. John married Mabel Smith, and from their reunion, 6 children were born. Malcolm McQuaige married Fanny MacArthur. Fanny was the daughter of Mary Ann MacArthur, a slave born in North Carolina. Mary Ann MacArthur had a total of 7 children: Jan, Fanny, Lillian, Caddy, H. MacArthur, Matthew, and Anna. Annie MacArthur married Henry Alford, and from their reunion, 9 children were born: Levitt, James, Owens, Joseph, Eva, May, Naomi, Matthew, William, Henry, and Priscilla. More about my great-grandparents. Fanny MacArthur, my great-grandmother, was born in Scotland County, Lauenburg, North Carolina, on March the 15th, 1860. Her union to Malcolm McQuaige produced 11 children: Effie, James, Ed, Oscar, Jess, Mars, John, James, May, Doris, and Reese. And I'm proud to share with you that Jess McQuaige was my grandfather. Grandma Fanny moved to Durham, North Carolina in 1924, where she was a longtime member of St. Joseph AME Church. We know that Effie married Chaplain Covington, and of this reunion, 9 children were born: Percy, Nathaniel, Alexandra, Marie, Sally, Louise, Fanny, McNair, Thomas, and Elizabeth. We also know that Jim McQuaige married Daisy McCaskill, and that 10 children were born from this union: James, Sam, Fanny, Herman, Lester, Annie, Shirley, Brodie, Wiley, and Vera. And now we come to the great love story of my great-grandparents, Jess McQuaige and my grandma Aurelia Wilson McQuaige. Aurelia Wilson was born on September the 4th, 1898, to Moses and Charlotte Wilson in Bennettsville, South Carolina. She had 2 brothers, Willie and Fred, and 1 sister, Lavinia. Fred died at the age of 15 after a high fever. Willie Wilson had 1 son, whose name was Willie as well. Lavinia Wilson had 6 children: Rebecca, Lottie, Annie Mae, William, Betty, and Lucille. From the union of Jess and Aurelia came 16 children. Albert and Alberta, who were twins, Leroy, Jezebel, Gilbert, Mary Lou, Irene, Martha, Morris, Malcolm, Mildred, Vivian, Ruth, Sinester, Eugene, and Francis. Thus far, there's only one living sibling of Grandpa and Aurelia, and that is Sinester McQuaige-Goldburn. I'm proud to share with you that Leroy McQuaige was my father. From the union of Albert and Daisy McNeil came 6 children: Leatrice, Albert Jr., Janice, Charles, Raph, and Gordon. From the union of Alberta and Cranston Bullard came 2 children, Earl Thomas and Linda Ann. From the reunion of Leroy and Mary Jane McLean, who were my parents, came 7 children, Lorenza, yours truly, Doris, Leroy Jr., Dewey, Patricia, Carolyn, and Jesse. From the union of Jezebel and Ted Graham came 5 children, Betty, Gracie, Helen, Robert, and Kenneth. Gilbert, one of my grandparents' children, died at an early age. Mary Lou married William Quarles, and they had 1 daughter, Queen Esther. From the union of Irene and Freddie Goins are 2 daughters, Reba and Jennifer. From the union of Morris and Dorothy McQuaige are 3 children, Karen, Melanie, and Brian. From the union of Malcolm and Kate McQuaige were born 3 children, Ronnie, Frankie, and Gary. From the union of Mildred and Robert McFarland came 3 children, Sylvia, Dwayne, and Robert. From the union of Vivian and William Emerson, there are 5 children, William, Donald, Robert, Larry, and Van. Sinester married George Goldburn. Sinester has 1 daughter, Belinda. Eugene married Jean, and from their union were born 3 children, Sharon, Stephanie, and Eugene Jr. Francis has 2 children, Kenneth and Stephanie. That is the reunion of, and history, a proud history, of my great-grandparents, Fanny MacArthur McQuaige and Malcolm McQuaige. And I'm very proud to share with you that I thank God that I was born a McQuaige.
My name is Journey Rose Duncan-Clark. My great-great-great-great-grandparents are Malcolm and Fanny McQuaige. I am a descendant of enslaved people. I am the embodiment of infinite possibilities. It is the younger generation who must keep the tradition going. It is the younger generation that shall lead the way. My challenge to all of you who are able-bodied and of sound mind, know your history, tell that history, and keep it going so that people like me can grow up feeling proud of where they came from. Welcome, family. I pray you have a great time and enjoy each other.